decrep as a little bit of a slow mechanism to try and catch up to some of these heroes. You just don't have stuns. Like, you actually have no way of stunning people. They can purely just TP out in front of you, as long as you don't get a bash and as long as you don't get the cold feed down. So it is going to be a very hard time for them to get kills.
And if they do use their ultimates to be able to get these stuns, whether it be the Primal Split, whether it be the Chronosphere, it's pretty early on that you're going to need to be able to do that, right? So then all you do is, alright, they might get a kill, maybe two, then we just shake it off and we go again. You know, what are they going to do? Without Primal, without Chronosphere, they just cannot teamfight right now on Winter Bear.
Yeah, and that's where we talked about the pace and the tempo that's going to come in here from Team Falcon. So this could be a quick one, ladies and gentlemen. Just to reiterate it as well, our grand final will start at, 3 hours from now. So this is a quick one. We could be seeing ourselves in a bit of an extended break, but hopefully for the Winter Bear fans out there that it's not all too one-sided.
What are those cosmetics on Crit, by the way? That is the shiniest Spirit Breaker I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've never seen that before either. So I was looking at him and I was like, what is going on? See if I can...
Look at that.
So apparently it's called the Helm of Altoria. So it's like an Altoria set.
How do you see that?
If you open up the scoreboard and then you click on the little magnifying glass on the little Spirit Breaker icon.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, they moved it. Valve moved it from the hero portrait.
Making mistakes is the path to wisdom.
So I have no idea where that is from.
Looks good, though.
It does. A whole lot more of this all chat is going. I saw before when I was looking at the all chat that Kachal said Bluetooth connected. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Feels like there's some very deep meme lore between a lot of these players, and I'm not privy to the information.
The only Bluetooth meme that I know of is like, do you ever get one of those like knockoff boombox little things, like you know the JBL style ones that are, and it's like this broken English. It's like the Bluetooth device is ready to pair. Everyone has the exact same voice, and it makes me crack up every time I hear it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Who really knows? They're doing a good job so far to be able to have a very, very scary lane with this this Pugna. Didn't really think about the combination with the Nether Blaster as well as the Cinder Brew. So doing a good job so far at being able to push out Skitter as well as snaking here in the top lane.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, Pugna is one of those better laners at being able to like win these little trade battles, but I think things do change once you hit up onto like level 2 on Skitter. Like just having that extra stun, although Skitter, he might be the one to fall down. Stay? Oof.
He's got 8 1 charges. Snake did have to pop his as well, so they are getting a lot of this region out of the side of Team Falcons, but can they convert that into kills? That's the real question so far. The bottom lane, Crit still what Space Cow does, charges in, throws a few auto attacks, doesn't get the extra bash there on a Nagato. So he will just walk away. It's going to be so hard for them to try and get kills on the bottom side of the map, right? Like going in towards Amar as well as Crit, like they're both going to have 2k plus HP at like 10 minutes. Like there's not going to be enough damage coming in from the Ancient Apparition or the Faceless Void, and it's more about mitigating their losses in this bottom lane, right? Like just trying to make sure that they don't lose out too hardcore and at least get the Faceless Void towards an early-ish hand of Midas, I'd imagine.
You and your Midas. I mean, that's just going to stop him from, again, doing anything. I know it's good. Don't get me wrong, but again, I'm a little worried about them just not being able to do anything outside of the Pugna for the first, like, 5 or so minutes of this game. Skitter, though, that's the Pugna effect, enabling Kachal to get that first blood.
Merlin, the support battle, he's throwing hands, but there's a lot of creeps around here. He doesn't have to stick. He's got the Fairy Fire, the auto attack. See you later, Snake King. Merlin says, I don't care about TI winners. All I care about is winning my lane, and now he's going to get a nice little Lotus as well and die to some creeps and gets a free trip back to base.
Very, very nicely done.
Oh, Nagato. He is in trouble. Crit, throwing some hands, wants to try and win this fight, but it looks like Nagato's going to turn this back around with the cold feet. Gets a few more auto attacks. Crit juking around the trees. He's done it again. He's broke more ankles, but Nagato finds him in the trees this time around. And with the Lotus Orb, or Lotus Flower is able to get a little bit more of that HP back. So they lose one on the Spirit Breaker. So not too bad so far for the lanes here of Winter Bear.
Things going real well for him. Again, though, early days. You know, double melee into an Ancient Apparition, you're going to be able to outrange them. Yes, it's painful if they get on top of you, but, you know, it's eventually going to get to this stage where all a Spirit Breaker needs, and the reason that it's kind of busted these days is Crit is almost diving underneath the Tier 1 tower off the back of that charge back for the fountain. All you need is level 9 on Spirit Breaker, and then you can just clear out a creep wave with phase boots and a windlace, and that's kind of disgusting, considering it used to be level 20 that you needed to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's wild that the power creep has moved him forward tenfold. So that is in the future though, and in the now we are looking at a relatively even laning phase. It's much more even than what we saw in game number 1. Right, like game number 1 there was a lot of issues for the side of Winter Bears, and they've seemed to have alleviated a little bit of that pressure, and a lot of it does come off the back of their much stronger lanes this time around.
Man, Malrine is playing this mid lane so well. He's got a 300-ish net worth lead over the TA, and he's dodging basically every single one of these side blades when I've looked over towards that mid lane. Really just going to show why he's so confident, A, with the TA, but B, he's a grandmaster with the puck as well.
Yeah, he really has been one of those players that has, you know, to me, been one of those very, very good laners in the top lane, though. Merlin's able to take down Skidder, not before he does trade out, and taking Merlin with him, but losing out Skidder is definitely going to be a trade that you're going to be happy with if you are the Winter Bears. So this Panda's having a good job in the top lane. He's kind of just cruising around doing his bit, getting himself towards a lot of those early levels. He's got 2 braces so far here on Kachal, so he's nice and tanky. And thinking of that mid lane, Malrine, putting a lot of pressure back in onto Mikey, but now with the rotation coming in from the Pugna, they get the bottle refill, do they?
Nope.
No, they don't. No, they mucked it up.
Mikey was very slow. It was in his backpack to start with, and then, yeah, just took way too long.
A little too clunky. So, we don't get that free TP refill. And now Mikey's going to be a little behind, right? Like, he's got level 6 on the Templar Assassin, but it's not just like the puck where you get that level 6 and it means it is kind of go time, and you can see it now. Malrine getting ever so close to that Dream Coil. They do have Snaking, who's made this first rotation. Maybe they want to try and get themselves a kill onto the TA, but with Merlin around, it's going to be too hard.
They should know that there's an Observer Ward placed up here, though. He placed it in full vision of the Observer that just got denied, and yeah, there we go. We can see Merlin even pinging it over to the left. So maybe even saying, hey, Mikey, you want some free gold, you want some free experience, just buy your own sentry.
Yep, try and win the sentry battle.
Charge to the top
first
side,
charge.
though, from Crit.
Yep, he's going to see if this can turn into a gank for them. He will cancel.
Nice
Steve
TP from
Megado making this TP. I want to see if they can try and get a kill here on a Skidder. He gets decrept, so it's going to take a lot of damage here. The Cinderbrew will pop as well as the Cold Feet. A lot of extra damage. So much slows goes in onto the Red King, and he actually gets caught out. 3-man Dreamcore comes in here from Malrine,
Nice
though.
Delta
They want to
split.
see what damage they can do. How much damage can they split between these supports? They will do a lot of damage back towards the side of Team Falcon, but it's all the damage that comes in towards them. Now with the Illusory Orb, collects there onto Merlin, and Puck will get a second. It's a
they're
nice
gonna yoink
rotation
this.
from Malrine. Oh, yeah, they're there in time. They'll get the bottle refill as well.
Very nice.
Surprising they
movements
gave it to
coming
the
out
puck.
Earlier. Nah, you just need the bottle refill. It's fine. Also, some significant damage being done onto this Tier 1 tower as well. Siege Creep still alive, 7.5 minutes in.
I want them to see if they can get the Cinderbrew proc, and they do at least get it there onto Malrine, so it's a little bit of extra damage going against the puck, but again, big first rotation from Malrine. Does kick out Skidder from the top lane, so it means now that the puck is probably going to have to set their attention towards his top side a little more, because, I mean, it is a snaking on a Scarrath Mage, so you might want to give him a little bit of this extra time, but it's not like something along the lines of like an Earthshaker, right, where you're just going to sit them in this top lane and allow them to kind of sit back and farm. Sky Mage is not one of those heroes that really needs to get all that farm going for them.
Yeah, you need your early levels. I like the fact that he's going the Veil. Again, it's all about that scaling potential, right? We know Spirit Breaker's going to scale because he can just get a ridiculous amount of farm, even as a support, as soon as he's level 9. But Snake King, he's just like, you know what, Veil, percent increase is always going to be a percent increase, regardless of when it happens, early or late. Early, it's more effective because people have a lower HP pool. Late, it's more effective because your spells are going to be doing more. So something like a Puck, something like a Bristleback, still have a huge amount of impact once it gets to later on. And I mean, that's not even talking about the Skywrath himself once he starts to get those levels built up.
Yeah, exactly. He can have a lot of that extra burst damage. Nice little ward there. Does save low skill from a potential gank coming in there from snaking, and you can see now snaking is well privy to that information as well. So they're going to leave him be. They're going to send Skidder back towards this top side. We will have, what I heard, a charge coming in there from Crit. Seems like it was connecting on anybody just yet.
Still just level 5.5, but he is a-okay with how things are going so far. 1-1-1 on the Spirit Breaker. They haven't lost any significant objectives on their side of the map, and well, they should be just about to take a tier 1 tower on the bot side with Amar constantly pulling the creep wave, and looks like they'll be able to even get a kill before the split. No.
Yeah, Crit just booped him out of the Mystic Flare. Maybe it was going to be enough for them to be able to get that kill if they had the Mystic Flare, but it isn't going to be enough, so Kachal will be able to get the split off and run away. Fortunately for... Oh, okay. I thought Malrine was close enough there to try and catch out Nagato, but he was speedy on the old ice cream cone.
For everyone that wasn't watching yesterday as well, I do love the fact that... oh, actually, yeah, charge down on the bottom side, low skill. He's got the Chronosphere available. Let's see if he's able to time it correctly, because there is a Spirit Breaker coming right at you.
Yeah, he has to use it, but he's still getting charged, so Chronosphere or not, it will not matter. Low skill is just getting chased down. It's only one level in the Time Walk here, Matt. This is a very sad time to be a Faceless Void. They will at least get one bash, and now with the Dream Coil, it's not going to be enough for them to even get a trade onto the Spirit Breaker, and yeah, that was an unfortunate set of circumstances there for low skill.
Mm-hmm. What are you got coming through now? Infused raindrops from the Puck. Okay, so just wants to be able to survive into the Pugna in particular. Malrine, oddly enough, being a Puck, taking a tier 1 tower, doing a lot of the pushing, but you know what, someone's got to do it. And as expected, he's going to be going into that Witchblade that we were talking about, both for armor protection, just in case he does get caught inside of a Chronosphere or gets jumped on by Mikey, but also the extra damage over time for the refraction feels very impactful.
Yeah, just gives you that extra bit of damage is always really, really nice. So
enables you to scale too, right?
Yeah, getting in towards that Revenant's Brooch. A very long way away, but potentially could be a way to deal with the Decrepify as well for the auto attack. Seems like there is a fight that's going to be happening here towards the top side. Malrine, he's going to use the Tumbler's Toy to get far enough away, but it will not be long enough before they get close to get that Ray Fire Blast. Now Skidder's going to turn back around. This is a lot of damage that Merlin's able to do. But with Malrine here, it is not going to be enough for them to get the kill on the Skidder.
Low skill is in... Well, I was about to say he's in a little bit deep, but it's actually Amar right next to that tier 2 tower on the bottom side. Really putting a ton of pressure on him. This is, you know, what we were expecting from Amar, right? Like, granted, we've only really seen him have a high level of effectiveness on the Bristle and the Conquer. But just when you can, like, get up in their face, right? Make it so that you're the ones putting the majority of the pressure on. That's really where I feel like he's the one shining.
Awkward pause.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's a very awkward pause. Do they continue this fight? I mean, they do have the Dragonlance freshly picked up here on a Mikey, so this could be a fight, but they've got Crit as well as Malrine who are waiting in the wings. Malrine has enough mana for a Dream Coil and can pop the stick and then can probably use like one round of spells, right? So it's going to be a lot of damage for them to try and deal with here. They still have Refraction ready and available. They're going to get clipped by this AA ult as well, Malrine and Crit, so they're not going to get away from it scot-free. Yes, they won't get hit by the blast itself, but they will get clipped by the anti-regen, so...
Never know. By the time Crit finishes charging in, he might end up getting hit by it.
Oh, yeah, true. Who's he charging? He's charging Mikey, so... But Nagato isn't that far away, so I'm not quite sure if the radius from the AA Ice Blast is going to be big enough. Mikey's still lagging, unfortunately.
That's no good.
That is not good. Lag. Calais never feels good in Dota 2.
Aren't we lucky that Australia isn't the land of that anymore? It was a dark time.
The land of lag?
Well, yeah, lagging and everything. You know, just horrible connections, constantly dropping out. It's still a little bit of a factor. Like man, when I went over to Sweden for ESL One Stockholm, literally like gigabit connection. I downloaded, I think it was V Rising. Took about 15 seconds, and I'm like, what? What?
That's ridiculous. Like one of my friends, she downloaded Fallout 76 in 10 minutes, which is a 110 gig game.
Man,
And I
what's
was
the
like,
biggest
what?
game that you've seen in terms of space?
Oh, it was like the last Call of Duty that I looked at. It was like Warzone, where it's like 200 gigs or something like that. And I was like, how?
Let me raise
Like,
you.
how?
One. I've got a friend that plays Flight Simulator, and it's nearly 600 gigs.
What?
Yep.
That's,
I mean,
nah.
when you think you have to like map the world completely, you know.
I guess so. There's probably a lot of information. All right, team fight's happening. Ice Blast will completely whiff. So the awkward pause was, I don't think it really factored in all too much. Might be able to factor into a different fight going this way here. Merlin.
I mean,
Nah,
you just
not
see
close
them,
enough.
right? They chase, but unless there's Chrono or Primal Split, you're not going to be able to lock them down. They've got absolutely nothing in the TA, AA, and Pugna departments. So someone like a Puck is already going to have an easy enough time.
Yeah, and that's the issue, right? Looking at this draft coming in from the Winter Bears, is you just don't have stuns. And, you know, this Puck is going to absolutely love that, especially when Malrine gets towards things like Octarine Core plus Yules plus Blink. Like, how are you ever supposed to touch a Puck when they have, you know, those kind of items? Like, it'll be next to impossible for them to ever lock down Malrine here. So I'd imagine Malrine is in for a good time once again. I think everybody for the side of Team Falcons is probably locked in for a good time when you're playing against no stuns. They go directly in onto low skill. That was a beautiful combination between the two supports, Crit and Snaking. Don't even need Amar, who was waiting in the wings for that one.
I love support duos that are capable of getting kills on their own, you know? Like, something like that is just so easy, and it feels so good to be able to... You know, I'm a support player, so I'm a little bit biased, but, you know, something like the Veil of Discord does lend itself to being able to do that so easily. And look at Snaking, he's been building up tons of stacks for them to be able to play around with as well. You would assume that it's going to be Amar that takes it, but then again, he's doing such a great job of just completely locking out this bottom half of the map. He's basically acting like a broodmother right now.
Yeah, it really does feel like that he's made this little spot. They're going to see if they can try and get this kill here onto Kachal in the top lane. They will get the silence, they will get the Dream Coil, but he's tanky enough to get away from that, so not enough lockdown for them to be able to get the kill there onto the Panda. And I was, you know, when you were saying, oh, it feels good as a support, I could just imagine you every time two supports kill a core, you just like fist bump slightly underneath your desk. You're like, yeah, cop that core, players.
But then you know that the core player is coming for your ass the rest of the entire game.
You give as good as you get, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if Low Skill's able to get to that
Skill
point,
again.
because unfortunately he is not going to get to that point right now, because Snaking has found him out. They've got the extra stuns, they've got the extra silences, and Low Skill is dead once again. And he's, I don't want to say he's like the only carry, because they have a Templar Assassin, but he's the one that needs to have a good game, because he needs to hit these big chronos for them to try and win these fights, right? So
No Midas as well. It's going to make him suffer.
Yeah. Oh, no Midas. I just thought of that Megamind meme.
I know what you're thinking. You're always thinking of that meme.
Yeah.
There's never a moment that you're not.
I'm going to post that later on. It's going to bring me a lot of joy.
Also, Sting.
The
It's
good old
a
times.
meme from last year.
Yeah. I still can't believe the look on Aries' face when I said that.
What
and
have I
he
got
was just
myself
like,
into?
Yeah. He's like, why am I paired with these two? Of all people.
Dude, Basecamp got into it too. Can't just put it
Yeah,
all
that was just three Goombas. Just living their best life while the little Zoomer wasn't really able to deal with it. Alright. Let's take a bit of stock of the game so far. 5k lead, 15
Oh, a
minutes into the
15-minute
game.
ags on Bristle.
Oh, okay. That seems fair and balanced, with a Vanguard as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he just took all those stacks. I looked across at the net worth and I was like, oh yeah, Mars got a decent amount of gold, and then literally saw the ags go into his inventory, so it's a little bit of a Monka Giga moment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Crit
damage.
wants a freaking Midas. Of course he does. Why wouldn't he? It
I
feels like
love
they're
it.
just about ready to go, right? I think about the 20-minute mark, maybe slightly before, is going to be when Falcons really just flick the switch and say, all right, all systems go. You'll have the Blink Dagger on the puck. You'll have the Radiance completed on Skidder. You'll have the Aghanim Shard, probably plus one other item on Amar. Like, they've just got absolutely everything that they could possibly need to just continuously run at them.
Well, Nagato's in some trouble here, so they're going to do a lot of damage now with a freshly picked up Desolator coming in from Mikey, so he doesn't do enough to at least shatter out there onto Snaking. But they at least forced them back, and he said it's almost go time now for Team Falcon, but it looks like she was on the other foot for Winter Bears. They want to try and get together and see if they can put a bit of pressure on these tier 2 towers.
Not sure if they're going to be able to, though. I mean, again, low skill, kind of similar to last game. It feels like he was just one item short from being able to truly contribute. I'm not expecting him to show up until he's got this Maelstrom finished.
And even then, it's still going to be a hard prospect for him. He's going to be like, what, 1,200, 1,300 HP. All it takes is one silence, and he could be going down. Kachal in the top lane. He's been silenced up. It's a lot of damage now. The Mystic Flare. That is the first time in almost 2 years that I have seen a Mystic Flare on the map casting a game. That was a rare sight for me to see. And Malreen, not a rare sight, getting a free kill there onto Merlin in the mid lane.
You're used to just hearing the Mystic Flare and not actually...
I'm used to just, like, seeing, like, their HP pool will just go brrr, and
Yeah.
just, like, be like, okay, the Mystic Flare got cast. That was the first time I've legitimately actually seen it in-game. In, like, 2
I wonder
years.
if there's an actual
It's been
setting, or
bugged
if we're
forever.
just... Our computers are scuffed.
No, because it's happened across every tournament that I've watched. is that
True, it's
Mystic
happened
Flare
at, like,
just
TI
doesn't
and
appear.
stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, so it's like, that's why I thought it was like, oh, because I have like an ultra-wide monitor, so I thought maybe it was like a weird
Alright,
thing.
weird flags.
But it wasn't, because everybody else happens. And, you know, I was looking across at our observer feed as well, and I was like, it happens, when it happens in-game to me, it happens to our observer, and it was showed on the observer as well as mine, so...
Even your
just
ultra-wide monitor.
You know, ultra. I mean, you flexed yesterday. Oh yeah, I was just playing on Trent's PC at TI. Like, you know, like
Trent is
Probably
just
not an ultra-wide
just
flex,
a nice
but-
Halifax boy.
he's just a boy in a Dota world.
Just a Dota boy.
I could imagine Trent singing a song like that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be some sultry tunes.
Mhm.
Trent, if you're out there listening, I know you might be getting ready to do your own casting soon, but
True.
can you do a rendition of the City Boy?
It's called Don't Stop
That'd be
Believing,
nice.
but
Yeah, yeah, whatever. People know what I'm talking about. I'm not very pop culture educated, all right?
it was released in like the 70s or 80s.
Oh my God. Fine, musically educated, Matt.
There we
Let's
go.
start getting into specifics here.
Mm-hmm.
Radiant's
Oh,
top tower.
it feels like they've about flicked that switch though, doesn't it? Like they've got the Blink Dagger available on the puck, they've got the Radiance finished up. Merlin, ooh, my man, you are just walking over a ward and you're going to be giving your life up for free. They might even catch Mikey.
Oh, that's not what you want to see. Mikey's the one that's going down there. At least he'll have a good Chronosphere, so they've
Decent.
caught out two here. The AA Blast will be able to secure those kills. So it's a nice little contribution here for Low
Charles
Skill. He
coming
does
in.
have the time walk to get away. Crit. He's standing on the sideline, but Nagato, unfortunately for him, he's going to be found out. Skidder's there with a Wraithfire Blast, chops him down as well. A fresh set of bones for the Wraith King. And that is a 3-for-2 trade. So the first Chronosphere, well, first offensive Chronosphere, works out pretty well there for Low Skill, but losing out on Mikey is not the trade that you want if you are the Winter Bears.
No, just like 1 second earlier and he probably would have been able to have Mikey also dishing in damage during that chrono as well. Maybe make them be able to pick up one other person. And you just see what it means, right? Like, they're just getting so many freebies. The plus side is that Winter Bear, they didn't use the Primal Split, so it's not like they've got a complete absence of team fight now. If they do want to defend this Tier 2 tower, they can. And you can just see
That's what they're doing, indeed.
as soon as Kachal turns up, they're like, I've got to get out of here.
Yep, not today. He's getting close to his own Radiance, so a little bit behind on Skidders, but it's still going to be useful.
no.
Amar is standing around here. The Ags is putting a lot of these Quill Sprays in towards Merlin, so the next couple are going to do the damage, and they will. They cut him down
that'll
thanks to the
stun.
Wraith King, but the AA Blast is massive. Goes in directly onto Amar. He's got the HP and he deals it down onto low skill. Skidder eventually will lose his life, and finally the charge comes in from Crit. They're going into the background. Now the buyback comes in from Merlin. They want to try and keep Mikey alive. He goes back in, gets charged out by Crit once again, so they take him down, and Skidder up onto the high ground, wants to try and get this fight going. Merlin sucks him dry and takes him down. So they lose 2 of these cores, and they're going to lose a second with Snake King going down as well, and the Skywrath Mage. That was a fight underneath their tier 2 tower that was starting to go pretty well for Falcon, but with these buybacks it was enough for Winter
With
Bears
the buybacks,
to hold on.
as well as Mikey was completely focusing the Tormentor. He wanted to make sure he took that one. He didn't want to give another free Aghanim shard over to Falcons, and they got lucky enough that it was actually the AA one as the Ice Blast was already being launched out there. So it was a really surprise stun that they got underneath the tier 2 tower. There's the extra stun duration, the tower damage as well, everything ramped up for them to be able to finally get a kill onto Amar, who surprisingly enough doesn't have a kill to his name. 7 assists, but 0 kills for Amar.
017, he was Agent 007 for a while there until that previous fight, so...
Don't worry, he'll be just fine soloing this Tormentor.
Yeah, that's very fair and balanced, right? I think any hero that can solo a Tormentor, there's something wrong. Right, like there's an issue innately with the way that the hero works or interacts with certain things that you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Because I think Tormentor, I like the idea of it if it forces a committal from a team, right? Like it forces you to be all in this area to try and get this one thing on a one specific hero, right? Like every 10 minutes. So it's like if you just have a hero like Amar or Dazzles where they can just go there themselves at 20 minutes and go take it out for kind of no real issue, that it kind of defeats the purpose of it being in an awkward part of the map, kind of behind the tier 2, right?
The one hero I don't mind being able to solo it is TA, just because it already suits her, kit that she's had for ages, right? Like, it's nothing new. It really felt like Bristle and Dazzle being able to take it kind of coincided with a new Ags coming through. So, I think TA on its own is fine. Speaking of the TA, she's smoked up with the rest of the team, but they just have an overwhelming amount of damage right now on Falcons to be able to take out this Roshan before it's going to be anyone joining in.
Yeah, they're going to lose out on the puck, so Malrine is already getting damaged by the AA ult, so they're going to trade an Aegis for their puck's life for now. With the Aegis out on the Bristleback and with no AA ult to contend with either, Amar's going to have a pretty free time in these next couple of fights. Snaking. Ooh, he's looking for something. They want to try and have a fight behind this tier 2 tower. They're going to go in with the Mystic Flare. Mikey's losing the HP. There's no Chronosphere to speak of, but it doesn't matter because low skill goes in, bashes down Snaking. So Team Falcon, they haven't been able to cleanly and concisely take this Aegis and turn it into a tier 2 tower because they're losing lives for it. They need to make sure they don't hover around for too long. The Ice Blast is coming back off cooldown.
Yeah, going a little bit too deep. I think they're underestimating the value that Malrine is providing to a lot of these team fights, just providing the slows, the leash, of course, coming through from the Dream Coil, especially prior to any of these BKBs coming out for Winterbear.
Yeah, exactly, and they don't really have the good ways of being able to deal with the puck, and you can kind of just see the amount of chaos that he creates in a lot of these fights, and I think that is really underestimated part about a lot of these heroes is just the kind of space that they create, whether they are dealing the damage or doing what they need to. So it is a very scary prospect right now for them to be able to...
I feel bad for Pokachal, like he needs this AC just because of the heroes that he's going up against, right? But he also needs a Scythe of Ice. He also needs like a BKB or a Manta Style so that he's not getting, chain silenced to death.
Merlin is in a spot of bother right now. He's got 8 goo stacks, and with the amount of quills that are spraying out here from Amar, that is going to be a freebie for them. So Merlin's dead again. They will be able to transition this into the tier 2 tower, and I mean, that's the issue of being so far behind on net worth, right? Where you get to a point where you're playing on some of these heroes and you need every item under the sun. You're like, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that, but you just aren't able to ever find one that will be able to solve enough issues for you, so then you can start getting that net worth and building more of these items. And Tier Towers
I'm sure they're pinging
now.
out the chrono cooldown right now, saying, you know what, there's really no reason for us to be scared going the high ground. Worst case, they pop the primal split and we're probably going to be able to get away.
It is about 15 seconds until it is available, so Amar needs to be very, very careful. He has done about half HP with the amount of damage that you get from these Warpath stacks. It is very easy for a Bristleback to walk up and just take some of these towers. He now has the Bloodstone at the ready.
I mean, he's got
It's
ages as
available.
well, right? So even if he did put himself down there away from the rest of the team, it's not the worst.
Low skill. They
Catch
found out
Mikey.
Malrine in the mid lane. They're just going to take down the puck. That was a quick pickup on the Aghanim shard of Mikey. That's what caught out the puck there. The silence and the traps was more than enough for them to be able to get the kill on that pesky little fairy dragon. Now they're smoking behind the side of the Falcons. They're going to come in on the back line, but that is a lot of damage coming in from the sides as well.
Mikey's
But
doing a lot.
Mikey in the sideline doing the damage with the auto attacks does take down Snaking. They're looking to try and get their second kill as well. Low skill does not have the chronosphere because he used it already. Mikey gets chopped down by Skidder, who just stands in front of him and blows him to pieces. The Manta Star will come out from low skill and he gets the time walk up onto the high ground, but he's got a lot of these stacks already on him, and Skidder's going to try and find him, gets the last little crit, and they will say see you later to the Faceless Void. And what looked like a good fight for them turned into a disaster on their own high ground, and Nagado will be the next on the chopping block. That's almost 80 seconds dead for an Ancient Apparition. Amar, he's not done just yet. The Force Staff will buy a little bit of space for Merlin. Crit charges through, cancels out the suck, and that will be another kill going the way. Ooh, okay. Yeah, they're
bad
playing
for-
cat and mouse.
You feel bad for the... Oh, very nicely done. Yeah, the Winter Bear supports, right? There's really nothing that they can do against these heroes. They just want to be running at you constantly. This is the downside of picking a Pugna AA duo. Neither of those heroes frontline.
They just don't really have good ways of disengaging from like a Bristle as well, right? Like, yeah, you're going to decrap to buy a bit of time, but doesn't really matter. Look at the damage! They forced out a primal split just by Amar standing in front of him and blowing him to pieces with the Bristleback.
I don't know if you kill this man.
AA's dead for 20 seconds. I would say if you had AA alive, this might be a good fight for you, but Low School goes in, gets bashed out, has to walk away. Merlin just gets chopped to pieces again by Skidder.
He's going to be
Kachal.
going back to that Earth Panda.
And he's all very extremely low from the amount of damage that Amar did to him early on, and they lose the Panda as well. Oh, this could be over before it even really starts for the side of Winter Bears.
Yeah,
The
the
back
only thing
of
holding them back are
big
those tier 2
performance.
towers in mid and top, but well, you can see that they're dealing with mid for now. They're going to be pushing on forward. They'll know that still 30 seconds away from Chrono, 30 seconds away from Brewmaster respawning, and he doesn't even have the split.
They want to try and fight. The AE Ice Blast is going to do a lot of damage, but
Amar.
Mikey's already dead. Now, double buyback from a lot of these cores. They're going to come in onto the sideline. Low skill does the damage, gets rid of Snaking. Amar, though, isn't able to heal, so he goes down to the Templar Assassin. Team Falcons a little bit deep inside the Winter Bears base. They at least force some buybacks and some big ultimates out of them. So this game does just extend a little bit longer with Amar going down on the Bristleback.
Just a little though, right? Double core buyback on both your mid and off laner. It's a couple of kills, sure, but you're still able to get away. They're not really hurting too much off of this from Team Falcons, and still a 24k net worth lead. They will be able to catch the puck though. That's a nice chrono coming through from low skill.
Yeah, kind of surprising that Low Skill only has one level in the Chronosphere at level 18.
That is surprising. I mean, I know that he feels like he needs to have enough stats to be able to farm and do a little bit of that extra damage, but surely the extra duration on it, but more importantly, the cooldown is the biggest factor, right? Like, that is the limiting factor, it feels, right now for Winter Bear, just the fact that they can constantly run at you as soon as these big cooldowns are unavailable.
I could see
Must be very careful. He pulled back.
Yeah, this is a very spicy spot to be here. Low Skill wants to try and fight. Doesn't have the Manta, so he just gets chopped to pieces. Low Skill's just dead. Yay, Ice Blast is going to be enough for Kachal to try and at least get the kill there on a Snaking, but they take down Merlin as well. And with the all chats going through here from Malrine, I betcha they are more than happy with how these fights are going. Crit's going to try and charge away onto Mikey. Gets the BKB off at least on the Templar Assassin, but it's going to be enough for them to hold on. Kachal is going to come back in. Does have the Primal Split at the ready if they need to use it for this fight, but with only these two cores that's available for Winter Bears, you have to back away from the Wraith King and the Spirit Breaker.
Alright, so I have a bit of a, let's call it a pet peeve. Something that pisses me off is that so many people like to hold on to one Iron Branch in their backpack for the longest time. And I'm just like, why? The only time I've ever seen it have value is when you, like, drop it on the ground after a Roche kill to try and get them to pick up the branch instead. I just saw Kachal send back his Bracer to base instead of his Iron Branch so that he would have the spaces to be able to disassemble his Arcane Boots so then he can reassemble to make the Aeon Disc. So, like, what are you getting? A post 25-minute Bracer or an Iron Branch in your backpack? It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, sometimes there's some questionable decisions.
But it's like, if it was one person, I'd be like, oh, okay, he just didn't see it. But it's constantly that I'm seeing these iron branches just held onto, and I'm like, what's the point, man?
It's cool. It's like nostalgic. It's like having that. It's just like having that like hobo chic. You know, it's like you've just got that.
I
it's
remember
cool
back
to
in the
be
day when I used this for laning.
uncool. Yeah. It's cool to be uncool, guys.
I don't agree with that statement. But I think there is way too much stock being given into people just trying to be cool, you know? Just be you.
It's uncool to try and be cool.
Exactly.
You have to be
Just be you.
naturally cool. Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, calling me cool like that. Appreciate it. You're pretty cool as well.
Surprisingly wholesome.
I thought you were gonna bite back on that. But
No, never.
I respect it. Well, these fights are getting ever so, I think, tenuous between both of these two teams, right? I think that Team Falcons are at the point where they are respecting the damage that you can do here for Winter Bears. You know, Chronosphere into an AAL with Templar Assassin on the outside dealing the damage. That is going to be enough to take down these cores, and that's why you can see now that Skitter's gone for the Aghanim Scepter. Kachal. They walk forward, they find Amar.
Okay.
Everybody else
No
is
puck,
in the
though,
base.
For a while.
Yeah. But they don't know that, so they are still scared of what Malrine can do.
So, you know, I was talking before about, like, do you have scaling potential, right? Look who's third on net worth.
Yeah.
And is
it's a
position
hero.
4 Spirit Breaker. Granted, with Midas, but just the amount of farm that you're able to get on the map just by existing and, like, using a very quick charge is kind of stupid.
And speaking of, he's pushing that mid lane, and now this fight starts to get really awkward for the Winter Bears. Crit is just pushing in these creep waves, and they have to start
Forces
making
them to
a
make a
choice.
decision.
Yeah, it's like, do you want to lose this lane of Rax? What do you want to try and lose instead? The BKB gets popped here by Amar. The amount of damage they go in onto the Bristleback, he is more than dead. So they have the Ag Scepter come in from the Wraith King, so at least is able to deal a little bit of damage going back the way here of the Winter Bears. Skitter walks in, takes down the two supports. Mikey has to pop his own BKB. They're going to come in here, try and take down Snaking in the background, who is getting focused on now by Kachal. They don't have the extra amount of damage to try and take down this Skywrath Mage. He's starting to burn down thanks to the Radiance, but the Bears are starting to lose their life to the Wraith King as well. He gets a lot of HP back thanks to that little Lotus pedal, and that means that eventually he will go down, but they had to commit so much for it. Low Skill wants to take down Crit Q, as we did already mention. He's third on the net worth, so it's going to be a lot of gold. Beautiful ultimate on the Nether Strike. He's able to take down the Faces forward. Now it's all on to Mikey. 1 versus 3. Can he deal the damage? The charge comes back through thanks to that little Wraith form from the Wraith King Aghanim Scepter. And Mikey, he's ever so close to being able to get himself another one of these refraction charges coming up, and it's only Skitter versus the world. Can they take down Malrine? It is enough damage thanks to the Meld Strike.
And just respawns.
And they're holding strong here, Matt, these fights. Even though they're so far behind, they've got the damage.
They do indeed. Let's have a look at the fight recap from that one, and it really was Mikey doing the majority of it. 6.8k damage being done by that Templar Assassin.
You can
2
see
ice
why
blasts
this kid
as well
was...
in a single team fight. That's always going to
That-
be giga value.
Yeah, that's insane, the amount of damage that it can do. And, I mean, you can see why this Mikey kid was one of the hottest commodities on the scene when he did break out as a Shopify Rebellion substitute through Dream League. Very, very good player, and now he's getting to the point where these Desolator charges are starting to build up. He's going to have this... okay, he's gone for the Hurricane Pike. I was going to say he's almost going to have this Silver Edge, but they're feeling like if they just get the Chronosphere onto Amar, it's going to be enough lockdown for them, and they've gotten to the point where they're tanky enough now on low skill, and they're tanky enough on the Mikey that they don't just get blown up by Malrine, and he's really starting to run out of options for him to just constantly be running around these fights. And as long as they blow up Amar, because I think he's probably the biggest issue for them in these fights, then it feels like these fights are relatively A-okay now for the side of Winter Bears.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also just thinking, like, what's the item progression going to look like now? You know, you can... they don't see that the puck's going into the Aeon Disc, right? But as soon as that's revealed, you kind of want a Nullifier, right? To be able to deal with it. And it's not the worst Nullifier game either, right? You got Glimmer Cape, you got Pipe, you got Bulldoze that you're wanting to be getting rid of as well. So it's a nice Nullifier game, especially for heroes like the TA, who are just able to deal so much burst damage so quickly.
Yeah. I think that is a pretty natural progression for the Templar Assassin, just to have that Nullifier It
They
does
also
kind
need
of
a
shut down
scythe,
quite a lot of
is
stuff.
the other thing, right? And they also
True.
need the Silver Edge. So it's like, can you hold out for long enough? The Aegis is obviously going to do them a big favor in just buying them a lot of time.
Well, I think, maybe you can divide and conquer, right? Kachal could try and go in towards that Scythe of Ice himself. Maybe you try and put the Nullifier on towards the Faceless Void, or maybe even the Silver Edge go towards the Faceless Void, and then TA can focus on one of the other two damage items. And then you can kind of divide and conquer. So he's now getting to the point where these fights are not just as cut and dry for the side of Team Falcons as they were, previously. Amar really has to be kind of careful about how these team fights do go. Maybe you're starting to think towards maybe an aim disc for yourself here for the Bristleback, just so you don't get killed inside of the Chrono.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there's so much emphasis being given over to Nagato as well, right? Like, if he doesn't land the Ice Blast, then I don't think they win these past, couple of fights that they've taken.
I think that's a pretty fair statement. So I think that's kind of what we've seen from a lot of these Ancient Apparition drafts, right? You get towards this mid to late game, and it's all about the AA blast, and fights can really be over. We even saw it at TI, right, where fights can literally just be decided about whether or not their Ice Blast hits. And if it doesn't hit on good enough heroes, then these fights can be very awkward and very hard for them to play around with. So Kachal, Snay gets into the corner, and again, just no simple stuns for them to be able to catch out that Skywrath Mage. He just TPs away.
And look at what happens in the meantime. Crit just goes back down bottom, shoves in another couple of lanes, makes sure that they're going to need to address that in the not too distant future. Super Creep's already given them a bit of an issue, and as soon as they see that AA, the hindrance of Amar's Bristleback, they just make an immediate dive in onto him.
He does get saved, but the Ice Blast is going to go completely wide, so Nagato will eventually lose his life, and now with no Ice Blast, I don't think this buyback is even going to matter. Crit pops the BKB a little preemptively, but they have been caught with their pants down here, have the side of the Winter Bears. They lose their two supports, and that's 70 seconds without Merlin here, Matt, and they were in such a good fighting form for a lot of these different fights, but now losing their two supports, it is losing all the control that they fought so hard to get.
They do indeed. You also have to wonder, when is the period where you're wanting to buy a gem on either side, to be honest, right? It feels like it'd be really good just to enable them to get back out on the map if you're Winter Bear. Make the most of this Aegis, because you can't use it purely as a farming tool for Mikey. He's not going to get that huge spike in effectiveness off the back of a Silver Edge while he has the Aegis. He's only got it for another, minute or so. He'll get the Shadow Blade, but you don't need just the Shadow Blade. You need a full item and a recipe.
Yeah, exactly. He needs to get all the way to the end product of the Silver Edge before he really starts to get the effectiveness.
He walked over a trap, but they can't fight. They were off the mark. At least they get a BKB out of them.
They get the kill in the background as well onto Nagato. He just got found out directly by Skitter, and now low skill. Look at the damage that they do. They blow up the Faceless Void. There's no buyback for the carry. And oh no, the Winter Bears. It looked like it was all starting to form in front of them, but it crumbles in front of them, and in a pile of ruins. It seems like this game could be over before it even really starts. Nagato's dead as well. Two heroes without buyback now for the Winter Bears, and it's Amar who wants to just walk in and get the healing. He's inside of the goddamn fountain at this point. He's going to lose a lot of the HP, but with 117 seconds on Kachal, it is all but too hard for them to fight here. Yeah, you've got 2 lives on the Templar Assassin, but it will not matter at this point, especially when the refraction charges are gone. The buyback comes in now from Kachal. Doesn't have the primal split to play around with here, but you still need to pay respects to these heroes if you are Team Falcons.
That was so stupid before with how Kachal died. It was just crit charging through him, dealing 750 damage with that Greater Bash as he passed on through. Ridiculous what a Spirit Breaker is able to do. Clear reason as to why they wanted it to open up this entire draft, and a reason that a lot of us are very happy that next patch is only a couple of days away.
Yep. It is very, very close. After these qualifiers, we're going to be seeing a new letter patch, so it's not going to be too huge, ladies and gentlemen, so don't get too excited. And fortunately for Mikey, that was a BKB usage for Noughts. They only lose a lane of racks off the end of that, but again, they don't have any buybacks. They've got no buyback now on Kachal for another 6.5 minutes, so it's going to be a long time before the Panda can start to fight this game. They do have buyback on Mikey, and there is buyback on Skitter, so it'll be close to Snake Kings as well. But everybody else in this game, it is a little bit too far away, so these next couple of fights could determine if this game will go to a 2-0, or maybe we get to see a third in this lower bracket final.
We've even got the Timeless Relic now on Amara as well. So again, it just re-emphasizes the importance of hitting this Ice Blast. If you don't, the man is going to be hitting like a beast. And honestly, even just as like a way to counter the Faceless Void initiation, right? He's got a Wind Waker available for himself as well. So what are you supposed to do against this? Is Gachal going to be okay? He's still 5 seconds away from that Aeon Disc being able to prop.
He at least does get all of the cool stacks purged off him, so he isn't sitting there with 9. But the Aeon Disc proc, Amar saw that as well, so this is an opportunity for them to be able to come in and try and get a kill onto the Panda before he has a way of getting in towards that Primal Split. They're going to full 5-man smoke here. Will the Winter Bears, though? They're looking to try and find someone, but again, they just don't have that instant initiation. They've got no Blink Dagger on the Panda either, so how do they really start these fights? It has to be a Chrono from low skill. Does he hit the right members? Does he hit multiple members from Team Falcons? That's the question. Melreen's going to go up on the high ground, gets a little bit more of this vision back as well. And just slowly chipping away at these creep waves, just trying to force something coming out of the Winter Bears because they know that they need to try and make a decision very, very soon. And Mikey, he has enough for the Silver Edge to finish it off, but then he doesn't have buyback. Oh, Melreen, he's just dead.
Not quite.
Can he get out of this? He has no HP. He will eventually be able to assemble the Aeon Disc, but he's not far enough away, and Merlin gets the kill. So Melreen, was that just a Yule Scepter pick up there by Nagato? Is that what happened?
He's had it for a little bit, I think. He had to buy back
But did he catch
previously.
him with the Yules?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's a big pickup. So.
And we were talking about who's going to be the one to buy the Scythe of Ice. Well, Merlin being the one to get the kill onto Melreen there with his Nether Ward. He's now getting pretty close to being able to pick it up for himself. I mean, they're the main ones that are getting jumped on a lot of the time, right? So just being able to turn that around is going to be a really huge deal. Level 18 picked up as well as the Aghanim Shard off of Mikey being able to secure the Tormentor for them. Most of the time going to be using the defensive suck, but you know, you never know. You got some damage output coming through as well.
Yeah, if he's ever able to offensively have the Zuck, then it definitely will feel a lot better in these fights. But yeah, I mean, if the rest of the game is anything to go by, it is all too hard for him to just stand and deliver. So see how this fight goes. Roshan now, he's starting to go the way of the Winter Bears. There is a lot of movement coming in from Team Falcon, though. They are well aware that this fight is going, but are they going to be here in time? Look at how quickly the Roche goes down. TA is going to be able to get it done, and that just means that Low Skill picks up an Aegis, and the cheese will go into his favor as well. Low Skill, he hasn't picked everything up.
He just did.
He was fumbling the inventory for a little bit there. So he has Aegis and cheese. I'd imagine you probably want to hand that over to Mikey.
Oh, the rest of the boys left. Luckily, he's going to be able to get away just in time. You assume?
His Lincoln's is still on cooldown for a little bit. Okay. So his Lincoln's is going to be okay. I thought that was potentially going to be Skidder jumping in with a Wraith Fire Blast, and they could have turned that around. But
Rain playing Rat Dota once again.
He's been a dirty little boy. He gets himself a tier 3 tower and a lane of racks. Well, I mean, a side of racks. A barrack.
One rack.
One. One rack, please, sir. Your finest melee rack, please.
I've only got one left, so you'll have to take what you can get.
Just take it, man. That's all I got left.
Bargain bin.
50% off.
Clearance.
Clearance. Down to salvos. So,
More of a
game is... this game is getting to an awkward standstill because he really wants to make that first bad movement, and Merlin and both supports get completely eviscerated in the background. I was setting my attention towards the Bristleback, but it looks like the fight was happening inside of the base here, and you just see Low Skill getting chunked down by the illusion, and he is just standing and fighting, just trying to get some sort of regen. He gets away there from Malrine, but with no Ancient Apparition for another 30 seconds, it is hard for them to fight. Looks like they want to try and go forward here, Skidder. That's not the person you want to jump on. You need to wait for your Ancient Apparition if you are the Winter Bears.
Bot lane pushing, mid lane pushing, top lane pushing. 5 heroes from Falcons pushing at you. It's not the easiest thing to have to go up against, but Looks like they're going to be patient at least for this little bit. Will mean the AA is back available, but also means that you'll be able to wait for that Dream Coil.
Alright. Low skill was... I also... didn't think about it in the pit, but he also picked up the Ag's Blessing. So he now has a little bit of that extra lockdown with the Time Walk Bash. So that's always nice for them. But as you said, they are very much relying on the Ancient Apparition and their combination with the Chronosphere. And you can just see Team Falcon, as soon as the AA respawns, they respect it, they fall back, they get themselves back into a respectable position. You can see now with the buyback status, so they have 4 out of the 5. Crit is 2,000 gold away from his because he's just bought a whole Shiva's guard, so he is happy for him to just kind of go in and throw his life away, but I don't even think they can kill him. He has almost 4,000 HP. He has, like, what, almost 50 armor. He's got a Wind Waker as well. He has Bulldoze, so he's got 70% status resist that has a 1 second downtime for God knows what reason.
Planar Pocket, 75% magic resist.
Like, there's a lot that is stacking in the favor of the Spirit Breaker, and for some reason he still has it all.
Still doesn't have an Ags yet either.
Yep. That's
Low
when it
skill
gets
is
even
going to be going
worse.
for that Nullifier though, so the double Wind Waker plus the Aeon Disc isn't going to be able to save them. Gotta buy it up though. Pugner was forced to buy back in that previous engagement after getting picked off at the very start, so he's still ages away from any sort of Scythe of Ice.
Yeah, looks like he's setting his attention onto the Aeon Disc as well here, Matt. So he has stopped that pipe dream of the Hex. He's now going towards more survivability. Wraith King's going for a Orchid. I don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just a little bit of a reduction of damage is always going to be effectful as well, just from the Mage Slayer component. Passive magic resistance feels not too bad either.
Also, the guaranteed crits is always feels very nice. Something like a Wraith King, he does do quite a lot of damage, so feels nice. Extra attack speed. All right, we'll see what these next couple of fights are going to look like. It looks like they are sniffing for one here. Are the Winter Bears? They just haven't been able to find the right heroes. Imagine if they could just find it.
Side. They just want to break his Aeon Disc.
Yeah, and I think Crit's going to be able to do that relatively easily by himself.
Look at that, he popped the cheese just because he wants to keep it up for as long as possible. Wasn't able to do it though, so nicely done, Kachal, never mind.
Ooh. You can just see Crit, the amount of damage he's able to do, just kind of forcefully run into people.
As well.
So, a lot more of these Lotus Petals going their way. We're potentially going to be able to see a block of cheese.
Aegis just expired as well. They're very happy to fight on Falcons.
Yeah. Can they get the team fight they need, though, for either Falcons? Malreen, he's doing the Rat Dodo once again. He is inside of the base. Kachal, though, he's the one that's being caught out. He has to try and get this Primal Split
Ancients
going.
at half HP.
At least be able to get themselves alive. And Malreen, he's inside of the base, and they're going to lose out onto their Pugner as well. And they've just got the Puck to deal with in the background. Oh, the AA Ice Blast is going to go completely wide. It's not going to catch on anybody. The Chronosphere is there. It only catches on the Crit. Malreen's on the other side. The Ancient's getting low. Mikey wants to try and fight him, but it's not going to be enough. The game is over. Team Falcons will be able to get themselves into the grand final. And we'll see if they can get redemption in a full best of 5, whether or not it can be the same tale again. But they